Good afternoon. I'm Elliot Hirschman, president of San Diego State University. When we first began our discussions with the Big West, we were extremely impressed by their strategic vision, by their focus on elevating their programs. And as we learned more about the Big West, we became even more impressed. There's competition at the highest level, with multiple programs having won national championships. And if you've seen the recent men's basketball games against Santa Barbara and Long Beach, you know how strong the programs in the Big West are. Of course, you don't have to look just at our games. So you can ask, and I'm going to list the names of some teams, Pitt, USC, Utah, Washington State, Utah State, and Boise State's men's basketball programs. These are all programs that have been defeated by Big West programs already this season. The Big West also includes some of our nation's finest academic institutions. 4 of the institutions are ranked in the top 50 public universities. The conference does also offer us at San Diego State some unique opportunities. Given its geographic footprint in California, there'll be less missed class time for our athletes, and travel costs will be lower. This is particularly important in sports where there are multiple matches or games. The conference's television agreements also provide some important opportunities for us, opportunities for our basketball teams to appear on ESPN and other regional networks. You may know that Long Beach is appearing on ESPN 5 times this year. So it's a tremendous opportunity, great for both recruiting and for our fans. And finally, with Hawaii's entrance into the conference, it's going to be a great opportunity for our student athletes to visit Hawaii, and that's something that will help us in recruiting and also will be a part of the student athletes experience. So for all of these reasons and many, many more, I'm extremely pleased to tell you that we will be joining the Big West Athletic Conference. It will provide extraordinary opportunities for our student athletes, for our coaches and staff, for our alumni and supporters, and for the entire university. I want to thank a number of people who've been instrumental in moving this agreement forward. Jim Sturk, Sally Roush, Dennis Farrell, of course. All of the coaches and staff are Big West partners, a number of our governance groups who have worked with us in the discussions. I'd like now to ask Jim to come up and share some of his perspectives as well as some additional details on the agreement.
Thank you, President Hirschman. Thanks for coming today. The last 9 days have been historic for San Diego State in a number of ways. Last Sunday, we were able to announce our first back-to-back bowl invitations as a Division I program. Wednesday, the Big East invitation to join in football, and today announcing the invitation to accept the invitation into the Big West. The Big West is a great fit for us geographically, academically, and athletically. Most of our teams and sports already compete against the Big West teams in non-conference schedules. There's natural rivalries that will only get more intense as we join the league. They're familiar with the teams, the coaches, and the Big West footprint is exactly where the majority of our student athletes come from and where the majority of our alumni reside outside of San Diego. Our largest concentration of alumni are focused in obviously San Diego, but Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Parents and recruits live in those areas as well, so they'll be able to attend games and watch the Aztecs a lot more easily. Besides the benefits that President Hirschman mentioned, the Big West also offers opportunities for our sports programs to compete for championships. You may not know, for instance, in the sport of women's water polo, our team will be a member of the same conference for the first time and allowed opportunity to participate at the NCAA level. The Big West has a great history of national success. They've won 17 national titles, and I'm sure Commissioner Farrell can fill you in on more details. But I do want to point out one of those national titles won by Fullerton in softball, where a certain pitcher, Kathy Van Wyk, won in 1986. Kathy and a few of our coaches will be in the auditorium, or I mean in the Hall of Fame area afterwards, and you can talk to them and get their perspective. We're just extremely excited about this move and ready to move in 2013 for a number of reasons. We look forward to moving ahead. Now I want to turn the podium over to Commissioner Dennis Farrell.
Thank you, Jim. President Hirschman. I'd like to speak on two levels today. One, this is a historic day for the Big West Conference. This is a day where our vision that we've had to elevate our conference's image as a national profile conference really has taken a major step forward. We took an initial step a year ago when we brought the University of Hawaii into the conference, effective July of 2012. But today, this is a game changer for the Big West Conference, with San Diego State joining us, not only because of its rich athletic tradition, but also its strong academic reputation. So historically for the Big West Conference, this is a momentous day. From a personal standpoint, it was about 38 years ago, almost to the day, that I completed my last undergraduate class here at San Diego State at Montezuma Mesa. And for me to be standing here today welcoming San Diego State into the Big West fold, it certainly is a very proud moment for me. I know that this is a key component in our strategic vision as a conference. We can talk about that vision further as you have questions, but this is truly going to elevate the Big West Conference into the stratosphere from a public perception standpoint nationally. So it is with great honor and pride that President Hirschman, I invite the university into the Big West Conference. Thank you.
At this point, we'll open up questions for the President and the Commissioner. Jim, can you give us some details on the terms of this agreement as far as how binding it is and exit fees and that sort of thing?
I can't give you exactly, but there are those, yes, Tim. But we can get you more detail afterwards. There are, deal points, if you will, of an entrance fee and exit fees, just like there are normally in any conference agreement.
And when does the entrance start? What date?
It's would be July 1st.
Officially July 1st of 2013. However, we have part of the deal points that women's water polo actually will join the conference during the 2012 and 13 academic year.
Jim, I'm sure you've calculated at least roughly how much money do you think you'll save from travel. President Hirschman mentioned that was part of it. And what will happen to that money? Will those programs be allowed to keep that savings, or will it go to other places?
Good question. I think right now we know we're traveling into the Rockies and doing tough travel situations. Obviously, it's a lot easier, and then there's the Hawaii trip. But we're to answer your last question first. We're right now we're budgeting that as a neutral right now until we know more about what our sports will do with the rest of their schedule. They might mix it up and do some different things, but it's not a coaches. It's not an open-ended checkbook. It's but we think we can work.
Good to get that one in at the outset.
But it's something I think we'll look at and work with the coaches and decide just what do they need to be. Where their sport is, where the strength of their sport, and where they want to have their other non-conference competition.
In terms of just, generally speaking, are we talking, 6 figures, 7 figures department-wide?
It probably was in the 6 figures, maybe a couple $100,000 in savings overall through the department. But right now we're just budgeting conservatively and just saying that it's going to be neutral.
Were there alternative conferences that you could have considered, and if so, what was the tipping point?
Well, there were different options out there, but as we looked at it, and as the president and I talked about, that this was the best fit, and it fit our sports programs and our makeup, and geographically where we're recruiting, where our alumni are based, and the competitive levels in each of the sports that the Big West has. So this is a great fit for us.
Jim, is there any, why wouldn't it have worked to build up the Mountain West as opposed to leaving the Mountain West and going to the Big West?
Well, one, you have to have all your sports programs in the Mountain West, and as you all know, the Mountain West isn't the same conference as it was last year even, and so there's big changes there, and so we needed to look what was best for our institution in moving forward.
President Hirschman, you cited a reduction in missed class time as one of the factors here. Do you think that the football program is going to have that same experience, or are they going to miss more classes?
So when we looked at the travel requirements, we compared that, and I'm assuming you're referring back to last week's announcement of what would be the additional travel requirements and what impact would that have on missed class, and it's really minimal. Currently, we are going, for example, to the East Coast for a number of games each year. So as we change into another conference, it's likely we play our out-of-conference games closer to home, and that would offset some of those differences. There will be some small differences. Those are on the weekend, though, which obviously makes a big difference.
Jim, I understand not all the sports will go to the Big West because there are some that the Big West doesn't offer. What will happen to, you run now, what will happen to those other sports?
Lacrosse, for instance, would be in the, they'll stay in the Mountain Pacific Conference. I think indoor track is another one that would be in the Mountain Pacific. Jenny, help me out. Any other ones that are out there? Men's soccer that we've actually, the Pac-12 and the Big West have talked, and so we're not sure exactly when men's soccer would transition to the Big West, but it'll happen eventually. And swimming and diving has been out there, and they most likely will have the championship in the Big West now.
Commissioner, how would you use the phrase elevated the conference into the stratosphere? How in your mind does this accomplish that?
Well, I think the focus sport for the conference right now is the sport of men's basketball, obviously, and with Steve Fisher's program, that's a game changer for us. I believe that San Diego State's program will bring the type of leadership in that sport that it raises the level of competition, the water level for all the other programs in our conference. I believe that it will, as we have media rights negotiations coming up in the next 18 months with both our primary media partner as well as our secondary media partner, that will greatly enhance our position from a negotiating standpoint as well.
Do you think that San Diego State basketball can maintain its position vis-a-vis national powers in your conference?
No question. I think that as you look at the facility that San Diego State has, the marketplace that San Diego State has, the coaching that it has, I believe that its television exposure will actually increase. I can speak as an alum of this university who lives in Orange County, that the exposure in the LA Orange County marketplace, I have to believe, will increase dramatically from what San Diego State has currently in the Mountain West Conference.
As President Hirschman mentioned, Long Beach State and Santa Barbara are two excellent teams, of course. But you have 4 teams that have RPIs 300 to 340, and there's only 40 teams and a fifth when you throw in Hawaii this year and a couple others in the 200s. Why in your view are those programs so down, and what needs to happen?
Well, it's hard to necessarily analyze. In a couple of cases, they have brand new coaches. UC Davis has a first-year coach. UC Irvine has a second-year coach. So they need to get their programs off the ground. You also have some change in leadership in the athletic departments at some of these universities. I believe that since January 1st of this year, we've got as many as 5 new athletic directors in our conference. They're bringing in some young, enthusiastic, visionary perspectives to the conference. We also have some changes at the top of the university as well at some of these campuses, and not to say that the current CEOs were not committed to that, but you have some fresh ideas and commitments to their athletic programs as well. So.
Do you feel that this league can now become a too-big conference or too-big bid to the NCAA tournament now that San Diego State is there? Because a lot of the worry is if SDSU loses the Big West tournament, no matter what they do non-conference,
Right.
they're not getting any.
At least 2, I would say. That certainly is our goal, is to be a multiple bid conference on an annual basis, and to have our schools be in a position to pick up victories in the NCAA tournament as well. When that happens, that will certainly have a revenue stream component to it as well that can be reinvested into some of our other programs.
Jim, some of the players, Lorenzo Wade, for example, who's next Aztec, he tweeted that I would never transfer to SDSU if they were in the Big West. Why do you think some players and fans have qualms about it?
I think maybe a different day. I think the brand of Aztec Basketball is very strong, as the commissioner pointed out, that this brand is very strong, and it's strong because of the coaching, the facility, one of the best collegiate atmospheres in college basketball. That doesn't change, and in basketball it's a little bit different. We're talking about a 14-game league schedule, and so the majority of your games are non-conference. So what do you do with your non-conference games? We've, as you know from last week, we've have an agreement with the Big East to help facilitate basketball games, and we've agreed to. UConn has agreed a home-and-home agreement, and we're just working out dates right now with television and the Big East and the Big West of when those games will be played. So we're moving forward with that. We're not moving backwards, and I think that that gives. The other is as television is another opportunity that we have that we haven't appeared on ESPN since 2005. So those things coupled with what we've done already. Aztec Basketball wasn't winning because of the Mountain West Conference. It was because of Aztec Basketball and what our coaches and what we've done here, what the institution has invested in the arena, and what the students have done to create a great atmosphere. So I expect that to continue.
As fluid as things have been in college athletics in general, what is your expectation that this relationship will continue 5-10 years from now?
Me or you? Oh, for me? No one knows the future, but I think it's a great. We expect to be there. Be in there a long time. I don't know. I can't foresee what happens down the road, but I think it's as I said, a great fit for us. Great in a lot of ways. Exposure in the LA market. Our alums and fans and student athletes and recruits. Parents of student athletes being able to see them more often. There's a lot of positives.
Right.
So,
and just to add, one of the most attractive things about the Big West is its stability as a conference, and that's very important.